Part 114. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1144. Although I have experienced it once in the last brain hole world, but now repeating it again like this, Yanj still has a complex emotion that cannot be spoken. The brain hole world seemed to end in her hands. The moment he returned to the brain hole space system, Yanji finally serialized his memories. The hero of this brain hole world is still a mighty man. It is only the darling of the mighty one that can create a brain hole world. But why was she excluded from this memory in the brain hole plane? Yanj first returned to her chaotic space and glanced. She found that the soul source brought to her by the brain hole world seemed very strong and pure. Her little sapling grew faster than before. As soon as she entered the chaotic space, an ice cube heart appeared in her heart and spontaneously floated to her little sapling and hung on a small branch. Hey, will this heart overwhelm her branches? And why can these hearts run into her chaotic space? One by one perched on her little sapling. Still careful about the next plane? She won't become a Christmas tree in the future, right? Yanji thought about the Christmas tree with red and green willows, and somehow took a nap. When she went out, she immediately asked Jiwei, "Is there any news about chickens?" "Not yet," Jiwei said. "If there is, I will tell the younger sister right away." Why in these planes of the brain hole system, I will be excluded from some relevant memories of the mighty Nine-Tail? It should be due to the limitation of the rules of heaven in the plane, but it does not hinder your mission. Does this use this guy to say? Is it preventing her from going on? The words were expressionless. Enter the mission. In the new brain hole world, the master here is an immortal beast that has been walking in the world. His name in the world is Qin Chen, and he wants to be a little daughter-in-law who can warm up with him. The day that Yanj appeared, it fell directly from the sky and hit the hood of Qin Chen's car. The whistle sounded piece by piece, and Yanj stunned himself. When she wakes up, she will be in the hospital. As for the so-called Qin Chen, she really didn't see it. In fact, she originally thought that she fell on Qin Chen's hood and would look up at Qin Chen with a beautiful smile, instantly catching his soul and turning into his little daughter-in-law. I didn't think about it, she was stunned. After staying in the hospital for almost a week, Yanji didn't even see Qin Chen's face. During the hospital stay, she looked at herself in the mirror, and she was not much different from the person she transformed. If it was different, it was also younger and younger. Although there is a 15 or 16, looked very. Her existence in the brain hole plane is basically constructed according to the fantasy of the male lead. After reading the song, Yanj thinks that the male lead in this brain hole world is a beast, and he likes to destroy the small flowers of the motherland. Sushi Yanj's face was too deceptive. During the time she was hospitalized, both the nurse and the doctor took care of her. Even the half-dead Qin Chen's driver Xiao Lu, who was almost scared by the sudden appearance on the car that day, visited her 3 or 4 times a week. It was learned that she didn't remember anything, and everyone was sorry for her. Everyone thought that she should be the car that she hit by suicide. Xiao Lu even sat at Yanji's bed and talked to her for an entire afternoon, afraid that she would touch the porcelain with other drivers. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1145. Yanj would like to ask Xiao Lu to where his boss has gone, but since he is in a state of amnesia, he can only understand what he does not know. After staying in the hospital for half a month, it was observed that everything in Yanj was in good condition, and the doctor asked Yanj to go through the discharge procedure. But she was discharged. Where is she going? Yanj couldn't do anything. He could only use the nurse's mobile phone to call Xiao Lu. "Little Lu, I'm discharged, and I'll go through the discharge procedure today. Is the doctor saying that you are okay?" "It's okay. There should be money in the hospital account. The money is the medical expenses paid by our boss." Keep it for yourself. Before you remember it, the money should be enough for your living expenses. Now, it was indeed a lot of money to be returned to Yanj on the hospital account. Yanj, how can I do that? Can I meet your boss? I want to thank him in person and return the money by the way. Our boss has been on a business trip in the last few days. You can just keep the money. I'll give it back to you, thank you in person by the way, and wait for him to come back. Xiaolu brother, please tell me all right, I will go to your boss. Who can see his boss? But the other side of the phone was so soft and sweet that Lu couldn't say a few words of refutation. I could only say the voice of the other side of the phone immediately rejoiced, thank you, brother Lu, please, please, if you are busy, I will not disturb you. She was out of touch and had already hung up the phone, leaving only Xiaolu with a mobile phone infatuated, and her mood improved for some reason. Qin Chen did not return from a business trip until a month later. After waiting for half a month of his time, Yanj spent the remaining 2 yuan steal on the money returned from the hospital. The only contact number on her new phone is Xiaolu. After answering Xiaolu's phone call, he learned that Qin Chen had arrived at the company and agreed to see the song. Yanj pinched the 2 steals, thinking, and finally decided to take a taxi to Qin Chen's company. In order to eat shrimp, she went to the sea for a while. She was quite far away from Qin Chen's company and took a taxi for more than 300 yuan. It was noon when Qin's company arrived. Yan Ji got out of the car and called Xiaolu as soon as possible, "Little Lu, can you let President Qin go downstairs?" Xiaolu didn't speak, and there was a man with a magnetic voice on the other side of the phone, "Where are you?" "Yanj, I'm under the Qin's company, just under the main entrance." "Are you, Mr. Qin?" "Qin Chen." "Oh, well, can you pick up another $330 in cash when you go downstairs?" Qin Chen, who was on the other side of the phone, was silent for a moment. However, after an instant, he said, "Okay." Yan Ji waited for a long time. A man in a black suit came out of Qin's house. His eyes swept around and he stepped down to the position of Yan Ji. Yan Ji beckoned to him, "Is it President Qin? I'm here, it's me, I'm here." It's okay for Yanj not to shout. At noon, all the employees who went in and out to eat and eat all brushed their eyes on Qin Chen and Yanj. Qin Chen didn't speak, but his pace accelerated. Before reaching Yanj, Yanj ran to him in a small step. "General Qin, did you take 303 yuan? Can you give me the money first?" Qin Chen gave Yanj the money in his hands. "Where is 303, 1 yuan worth 100 yuan? It should be 10,000 yuan. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 1146. Words of Song. Am I rich? So stink. She has the ability to give her all the money. Yan Ji carefully took 400 yuan from Qin Chen's hands and handed them to the taxi driver, waiting for the driver to find the change, and then put the change in Qin Chen's hands. "General Manager Qin, thank you." Qin Chen stared at the messy pile of money in his hand, waiting for the reaction. When the wind blew, the banknotes were blown in the air and fell to the ground. Yan Ji busy looking down to pick up the money. She intends to put the money back in Qin Chen's hands, but looks up, and Qin Chen has put her hands in her pockets. What about his $100 bill? The pockets don't seem to fit. She thought it was a gift for her. Who knew that this guy would hide the money in a flash? He had no intention of picking up pocket money in her hands in his pockets. Is this disgusting change? Still want to reward her? Yan Ji had to hold all the change in his hands, and saw him staring at him with a pair of eyes, paused, and whispered, Can I invite you to dinner? As the words fell, her stomach murmured. Qin Chen, hungry. Yan Song nodded. Qin Chen, what to eat? Yan Song, it's delicious. Qin Chen, let's go. Words, oh, good. So Qin Chen walked in front, and Yan Ji followed him very well. Qin Chen walked a long way, probably aware that Yan Ji followed a small broken step behind him, and then he slowed down afterwards. Yan Ji panted to follow him, walking next to him. I'm sorry for crashing into your car. It's okay. Well, the extra money that was returned from the hospital, I originally wanted to return it to you, but I have run out recently and I can't pay you back. Otherwise, I'll give you a job to get the money. Qin Chen turned her head and glanced up and down, working. Yanj nodded quickly. I can be your nanny, cook for you, clean the room for you, or run errands for you, I can. Qin Chen, I don't lack babysitters or cooks. There are many errands, and I don't need them. Yanj, what do you need? Qin Chen, lack of a daughter-in-law who spends money on a warm quilt. Words of song. In the beginning, Qin Chen's indifference to her, she thought that she needed to cultivate a relationship with him, but did not expect this guy to be so direct. Should she be shy? Yanj stunned a corner of his clothes, slightly flushed and bowed his head. I'm still young, can't warm the quilt. Is there a relationship between quilt and age? Qin Chen frowned. I know you're small, it's better to be warm for a while. Yan Song. Oh. It sounds like a simple quilt. Qin Chen took Yanj to a small shop near Qin's company. This small shop is surrounded by big restaurants. Only this small shop is crowded here. The plaque is perfunctory. It has a wooden sign and writes the whole donkey feast. Eat donkey meat? The dragon meat on the ground and the donkey meat on the ground are pretty good. Such a small shop can be opened in such a bustling location, and it must be very delicious and very delicious. Yanj came into the shop only to find out that in such a busy street, at the time of the meal, the shop was deserted, not even half of the guests. The boss seemed to be in the back kitchen. Qin Chen took Yanj to enter the door for a long time. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 1147. In this attitude of hospitality, no wonder the shop is so deserted. There were only a few 3 tables and chairs, but all were empty. Yanj and Qin Chen found a table to sit down, and her stomach murmured again. After looking around at the back kitchen a few times, she saw Qin Chen sitting motionless and Yanj reminded him in a low voice, do you need to call someone to order? It will be all right, Qin Chen said, wait a second. Oh, Yanj stabbed at the table with his fingers and whispered, well, do you know who I am? This man is quite familiar. Qin Chen glanced at Yan Ji. Who are you? I don't know. I got amnesia from a car crash. I can't remember who I am. Qin Chen, oh, you are my daughter-in-law. Nonsense really comes out of the mouth. Knowing that this guy is talking nonsense, but the song amnesia can't be refuted, but can only pretend to be surprised, I'm really your daughter-in-law. Qin Chen nodded. A look of indifference, without guilty conscience. Yan Song looked up silently at him. This man's eyebrows were squinting, his eyes were long and slender, his nose was arrogant, and although his lips were thin, his lips were sharp. According to modern people, his appearance is a hybrid of Chinese and Western advantages. Yan Ji knew, however, that his features were so distinctive because he was an animal, not a mixed race. Yanj looked at it, and gradually met his long eyelashes, like Lang Xing's ink. Those dark eyes seemed to be able to devour her, she had nothing to hide inside. The dishes are here. Behind him screamed Ling Yan's shocking spirit, only to realize that she and Qin Chen unknowingly stared at each other for a long time. She quickly looked back and turned to look at the vegetables. At this point, the hungry belly was scared and full. The chubby chef, dressed in a chef's clothes, was holding 2 3-foot-long and 2-foot-wide plates in his hands. The contents of the plates were dark and clumsy, and he didn't know what it was. But the weight is enough, there is a small hill, and there is a faint smell. Yan Ji even saw a pool of red blood on the plate. Is this a donkey feast? When she has eaten donkey meat? And this, where is what cooked food, is clearly raw meat, and it is not known what kind of raw meat it is. The chef placed the 2 plates side by side on the table of Yanj and Qin Chen, and nodded and smiled at Qin Chen. Master Qin, eat first, I will continue to make it. Qin Chen, okay. When the chef turned and went to the back kitchen, he cursed his eyes and sang song, seeming to ask something, but opened his mouth and said nothing. Yan Ji kept watching the chef enter the back kitchen before turning his head. He just opened his mouth and asked Qin Chen what he ate. However, although his mouth was open, he said nothing. Well, the 2 big plates have nothing left to eat. Qin Chen's mouth was chewing, apparently the food had just been swallowed up by him. Ma, what kind of beast is this man, and how can he eat so fast? Besides, didn't this invite her to dinner? She remembered that he had previously said that she was his daughter-in-law. Why, now, before the daughter-in-law eats, he's gone. Seeing Yanj staring at him, Qi Yuan drummed a cheek and confronted Yanj. Those eyes stared at the words, without any shame or guilty conscience. When he swallowed last, the chef brought 2 more plates of meat to the table. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1148. Still the same weight as those 2 plates. When the chef put down 2 plates of meat, Yan Ji listened to the opposite Qin Chen and said to her, eat. I wanted to leave her these 2 sets. But even so, she was unhappy. As soon as she wanted to say that she had no appetite for this kind of thing, she saw a tail appear from behind Qin Chen and rolled up the huge plate. Qin Chen's mouth also became bigger at this time, extremely large. The meat on the plate was poured into Qin Chen's mouth the next moment. A plate of meat poured in all at once. Yan Ji thought Qin Chen had left the plate of meat with her. She didn't dare stare at his big mouth, fearing that she had a psychological shadow. So Mu'en wanted to reach out and pull another plate. As a result, the tail rolled up the plate 1 step faster than her hand and poured the meat back into Qin Chen's mouth. After swallowing the meat, Qin Chen's mouth returned to its original state, and only the bulging cheeks kept chewing the meat. Words of song. Did she really come to be this little daughter-in-law for this guy? I really want to return this list. Not to mention whether his big mouth suddenly appeared and swallowed her when they kissed. First of all, his attitude towards his daughter-in-law needs to be considered. Too disillusioned. Even the food is unwilling to share with her daughter-in-law. This special lady, this monster must not have a daughter-in-law in reality. It really deserves it. The meat from the 3rd round was delivered again. Yanj was numb, and she was thinking expressionlessly, when will the man take the initiative to offer her food? Although she didn't want to eat this kind of food, she was so completely ignored by the man, and Yanj couldn't help it. But until the plate of the 5th round came on the table, the man did not want to share a piece of bread to give the meaning of the words. Yanj didn't even talk about the protest. She got up and went to the backyard, and wanted to talk about the ideals of life with the chubby chef who looked so incomparable and cut. But as soon as he entered the kitchen, Yanj was refreshed again. There is no fat cook in the back kitchen, only a big guy who looks like an octopus fills the entire back kitchen space, and this guy's countless tentacles are dancing in the air. One of the tentacles held the knife, clicked, and cut his own tentacle. Words of song. The thing Qin Chen eats will not be the hands and feet of this big guy right now. As soon as she thought about it, the big guy in the kitchen turned into a chubby chef the next moment, carrying the black tentacles he had just cut into the plate, and hissing towards the door with his air. Yanj blocked him subconsciously and asked inconceivably, you cut your hands and feet to feed him. The chef nodded, unlike the smiling kindness in front of Qin Chen. He probably hurt too much. His face was convulsing. He heard the words roll his eyes and replied, if you break your hands and feet, you can grow longer. My head is gone but it doesn't grow. Yan Song, you can't beat him. The chef rolled his eyes again, I beaten him, and gave him food by cutting his own hands and feet. Yanj, in fact, you can poison or resist in other ways. Or do something else to eat, which is better than your own broken hands. It's best to poison that guy, and she'll save the guy a warm quilt. The chef looked at Yanj with a deep and painful look, do you think I haven't thought of a way? I have caught so many game dishes and all of them have been eaten and extinct. If I did NT succeed, I would NT have broken myself. Hands and feet. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1149. Words of Song. Too disillusioned, this guy she wants to help, even in the world of his own brain, is a complete scourge. It can be seen that in the real world, it must not be a good thing. Rare animals have to be protected, but this guy has eaten all the animals to extinction, which is really not as good as birds/beasts. The words were silent, and he whispered, isn't he weak? She is really unwilling to give such a bird/beast a warm blanket. Might as well kill him directly. Chef, yes, he is greedy. Then he turned and put 2 plates of his hands and feet on the table. Can gluttony be called a disadvantage? Qin Chen's greed should be regarded as a realm. Yan Song pursed her lips and followed the kitchen. She remembered it later, and it seemed like a modern plane. Why do modern planes have such disillusionment? How could a tentacle monster like a chef open a store on such a crowded street? Until the 10th plate was eaten, Qin Chen finally looked up and asked Yanj, why didn't you eat? Yanj, this guy still remembers she did NT eat? Qin Chen, it's delicious. The things in this house are the most delicious. Don't you get used to them? Song of Songs, he. She is not used to eating, she can't eat. Qin Chen stared at Yan Ji's ridiculous expression, confused, don't you eat? Yanj, you eat for your mother. Qin Chen sighed, it's a pity that you don't eat such delicious food. He got up and stretched out his hands, and he looked gentle in a suit and leather. But the song narrowed his eyes and moved his hand away, taking the lead toward the door. When I walked to the noodle restaurant next door, I ate bowl noodles among the hustle and bustle, and then said to Qin Chen, you pay. Qin Chen took out his mobile phone and called, come here to pay. Before he finished speaking, Yanj interrupted him, who are you calling to pay? Don't you have a lot of $100 bills? Just draw one. Qin Chen, oh. He hung up the phone. A handful of $100 bills appeared in his hand, and then took one to the cashier, but didn't ask for money, turned and pulled Yanj away. Waiter, sir, you didn't have any money. Yanj, the money I haven't gotten yet, wait. Qin Chen's brow was tightly frowned, and his lips were clumped together. He tried to treat the words of the song as ear wind. Seeing that he did not accept the money, Yan Ji broke his hand and ran to the waiter to take the change, and then gave it to Qin Chen, now, you forgot the money. Qin Chen, oh. Although I said, I didn't mean to receive money. Yan Ji saw that he didn't accept the money, and he could barely put the money in his pocket. After a few steps she couldn't keep up with him, she just grabbed one of his fingers and dragged, slow down. Qin Chen bowed his head, his eyes falling on Yan Ji's fingers. Yanj seems to be unaware, raising her head and pursing her lips with a soft smile, "You walk too fast, I can't keep up, and I will lose you." "Qin Chen, oh." He held back his words with his backhand. His footsteps really slowed down a lot after Yanj slowed down. He reached out and rubbed his stomach. Feeling the movement of Yanj, Qin Chen asked, "Not full?" Yanj shook her head in confusion, and did not wait for Qin Chen to ask again. She suddenly looked around awkwardly. "That, me, I want to go to the bathroom." "Do you know where there is a bathroom?" The song's belly murmured. "I am not hungry, it's like eating something unclean and eating my stomach. After my death, the villain blackened again." Author, Ben Gong Weipang. Chapter 1150. Yan Ji's gaze on Qin Chen's face was embarrassing flushed. This first meeting, Qin Chen's impression was too bad. Can she be Qin Chen's ideal daughter-in-law like this? But at this time, the sense of urgency in her stomach made Yan Ji have no time to think about anything else. She covered her stomach, her waist was bent down, her blushing blushed, and her head covered with sweat. Yanj Nana opened her mouth to explain her current situation. Qin Chen picked her up the next moment and rushed towards the building on the side. "Yan Song, don't touch my belly, don't touch my belly." She always had the illusion that her belly would leak if she was poked. "I'll be there soon." Qin Chen ran quickly, and entered Qin's mansion in an instant. From the special elevator to his own floor, he sent the words to the bathroom. Taking Yanj's trousers to his knee with one hand, and sending Yanj to the toilet with one hand, he sat down. Then he let go of Yanj and stood on one side. "Okay, you pull it." Words of song. There is a beautiful man standing on one side. In this case, even if the stomach is imminent, she can't really let herself go. Yanj looked up and said to him, "Well, can you go out?" "Qin Chen, you can do it alone." Words of song. "Just shit, do we still need two people?" She nodded decisively, "This is my business. I don't need your help." Qin Chen nodded, "Oh, then I'm gone. I beg you to leave, it can't stand in minutes." Qin Chen came out of the bathroom and asked when he pulled the door, "Tell me when I need toilet paper, and I'll get it for you." "Yan Song, I don't need to take it myself." As soon as the words came down, I realized that there was no trace of toilet paper around. So, she still has to call him to come in and hand toilet paper? She glared at the closed door, holding a grunting belly in her hands, and muttered lowly. Qin Chen's voice rang out immediately, "What's wrong?" Words of song. Fearing that this guy would break in again, she was busy and said, "It's all right, I'm fine at all, don't come in." If she hadn't relaxed herself and her legs were too weak to stand up, she really wanted to get up and lock the door. Fortunately, the man didn't rush in, but let Song Ji breathe a sigh of relief. Yanj was sitting in the bathroom and was about to collapse. He turned his head and took a look at it, and found out that this is a toilet that can be washed automatically. No fingers needed at all. The man even misled her. The utterly disgusting words opened the door and took a step back in fright. The huge room was filled with a giant beast. The beast's head was facing the door of her toilet. Such an ugly beast, at first glance, even if Yanj was not fainted, he felt that his heart seemed to be here. I was scared into several petals at one moment. She just stepped back, and the beast's tail didn't know where it came from. She rolled her waist and rolled her out of the bathroom. Yan Song was caught in the air by him. Even if he knew it was the male lead here, he would not eat her little daughter-in-law, but still shuddered in shock. You, let me down." The monster's moving feet paused, and she was frightened when she saw Yan Ji, and her voice was very sharp. Although she was reluctant, she let go of her tail. As soon as the word song swish, it fell to the ground. Is this beast intentional? It must be intentional. Yan Ji could not afford to be angry. The eggs were almost smashed into several petals. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1151. Yanj looked up, staring at the huge beast head in front of him. He wanted to be angry, but he was frightened by the ugly appearance of this big guy, for fear that he would anger this guy. He swallowed her like eating food, and had to ask him, "What are you going to do?" Qin Chen's big eyes blinked, and then she opened her mouth, adding words to her extremely large tongue. The words of saliva all over my face instantly. She was shaking with anger. Qin Chen tilted his head, and his extremely large jaw stung on Yanj's body. When he left, by the way, he stuck out his tongue and added another song. Words of song. Fed up. She grinds her teeth, then stands up stingingly and slams on Qin Chen's head fiercely, and fists hardly against his nose twice. The little fist has no strength, so Yanj hits his nose. I thought it would hurt the guy more or less, but she felt numb with her fist after she smashed it. Looking up, Qin Chen moved her nose closer to her, pinched her face, and pinched her hand again. It looked like it was going to make her continue to smash. Yanj pursed his lips. Could this guy treat her vengeance as a tickling intimacy with him? The power gap is too big, and care will only make you more embarrassed. Yan Ji took a step back and turned into the bathroom. "I'll take a bath." She was full of saliva from this beast, her hair was sticking together, "So disgusting, Mom." The sound of water slammed and the words rushed for a while, which may be a kind of subconscious consciousness. I always felt a pair of eyes staring at her. Yan Song, closing his eyes and punching his hair, turned sharply and opened his eyes, and saw Qin Chen holding a bath towel in his hands. Standing upright, he looked like a dedicated housekeeper, always ready to help her clean her body under her orders. Grass. Her doors were locked. Why did this guy come in? No, it should be said, why did this guy come in while she was taking a bath? They didn't make a noise when they came in. They stood there silently. What kind of trouble is this? Yanj was so angry that his teeth were about to bite. Seeing Yanj glaring over, instead of backing away or guilty concealment, Qin Chen reached out and wiped his wet face with a bath towel to help Yanj. Yan Ji hated one side, trying to avoid the towel on his hand. As a result, the action was too big, and another slip under the feet, he planted to the side. Qin Chen rushed in time, not only did not support the words, but held them and fell to the ground together. It was painful enough that Yan Song fell to the ground, and the beast even pressed her firmly. She really had the illusion that she was being stung into a meatloaf. The two meat buns on the chest seemed to be squeezed and stuffed, and the pain could not be breathed. The bird/beast did not mean to get up, she pressed her motionlessly. Words of song. She gasped for a few moments and then calmed down before pushing him hard. "Are you going to crush me? Get out of here." Qin Chen, oh. Although he said in his mouth, his body was motionless. He was a little bit unwilling to move. Her body was soft and fluttered on her, as if into the clouds, trying to hug her for two rolls. Yanj saw that he didn't move, and was so angry that he bit his chin. It happened that Qin Chen turned her head at this time, and Yanj bit her bitingly on his cheek. "Nima, it hurts." You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 1152. I do not know if Qin Chen's cheeks have fallen off, but at this moment, she feels that her front teeth are almost broken by his thick cheeks like a wall. Seeing Yanj release, Qin Chen put the other cheeks on Yanj's lips. His slender eyes looked at Yanj, and his gaze clearly encouraged Yanj to continue biting. Yan Ji did not expect his human figure to be so difficult. How could she go to humiliate herself again, slap his face, his hands numbly hurt, Nima's. She squeezed a few words between her teeth and said, "You won't move away, I will be crushed to death by you." Qin Chen then reluctantly moved away from Yanj, and took advantage of Yanj's body again. He rolled his shower head with his tail, and the water was flushed again by the water. He held Yanj in one hand and rubbed his body with Yanj in one hand. I rubbed the chest of 2 words and said, "A little bit." Words of song. My mother is still a child, so it's good to have a chest. Don't touch Nima if you are too young. Probably because his own clothes were also wet because he had just fallen to the ground, Qin Chen even pulled his own clothes with his tail. When the shower rushed on him, he saw Yanj wiggle in his arms, thinking that Yanj was boring, and he just grabbed Yanj's hand and pressed it on his own chest, "Bigger than you." Words of song. Compared with her a woman, do you want to be shameless? Still not a man? A man with a big chest and no brain, this guy is a straight Qin beast with advanced cancer. Deservedly he couldn't find his daughter-in-law and had to rely on his brain. Seeing Yan Ji's eyes wide open is extremely cute, it seems that he really likes his chest. Qin Chen smiled and grabbed Yan Ji's hand and rubbed his chest, "It's harder than you." Words of song. She rolled her eyes, her chest full of words almost hanging on her face. Qin Chen didn't think Yanj was disgusting, but he also felt that Yanj's expression was lively and cute, and he should be very satisfied with his chest. He felt that he and she finally found a common topic. After taking a shower, holding Yanj and walking towards his outer bedroom, he looked down at Yanj's body with his head down. Putting Yanj on the huge bed in the bedroom, he leaned over and poked Yanj's belly button. Transformation. That serious expression was like a little Barala magic fairy reading a magic spell. Yanj raised his hand and pushed him, "Help me get my clothes out in the bathroom." Qin Chen didn't move, and when Yan Song was about to roll away, he wrapped her tail around her waist, pulled the person closer, and continued to poke her navel. Deformation. Be a fart. Does this guy think she's Sun Wukong? Neither of them was wearing clothes, and there was no ambiguity in the air. Yanj was in a state of anger, but she could not vent her anger on such a thick bite who could break her teeth in one bite. All he could do was roll his eyes and stare at him. What deformation? I'm cold, I need to get dressed. The deformation is not cold anymore. Qin Chen set it off, and when Yan Ji was confused, he felt that he was still a cub, so she couldn't deform freely. He walked to his clothes, pulled out a black shirt from it and threw it to Yanj. "Your clothes are dirty, and I will send you new ones when they are finished. It is better to wear clothes than to be naked." Yanj hurriedly put his shirt like a robe on his body, and he felt relieved after knowing it. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 1153. Qin Chen stared at Yan Ji's every move, and saw that she was dressed and sat cross-legged on the bed, and she made her shape become the next moment and wrapped her around her mouth. It is better for him to become a human being. Although Yanj is stressed with him, he can bear it. But once he became a beast, Yanj felt that he was going to shake. She was afraid that this guy would stick out her big tongue and spit her head and face, and wanted to keep a distance from him, but her body could not move at all, and she could only say, "Can you become a man?" The bedroom in Qin Chen's office is extremely large and super large. The bedroom alone should have 200 square meters. Such a large bedroom, except for the row of closets next to the wall, is full of beds. One bed, one whole bedroom. It is estimated that ordinary people think that Qin Chen is rich and willful. Or you like to live in bed, so you set up the bedroom like this. But now he has become a beast, and such a large bed is almost occupied by a third of his beast. The bedroom was so large that it didn't seem to be too big at the moment, but it looked a bit small. Although Qin Chen did not become obedient and turned into a human form, her words were not discouraged. She frowned at him, but her soft voice trembled. "You become a human form. I feel scared like you." Qin Chen was reminded by her before she remembered that she was a cub, and certainly could not stand his strong beastly atmosphere. So the next moment, in front of Yan Ji, became a humanoid Qin Chen. He lay beside Yanj, stretched out his hand, took Yanj into his arms, and patted Yanj's belly. He said, "Is the stomach still uncomfortable?" Words, hungry. All the food was pulled. He was okay without asking, and Panic was hungry whenever she asked. "Qin Chen, what do you want to eat?" This time the song was not dare to answer the delicious, she immediately ordered several delicious things on earth: lion head roast duck, smoked chicken elbow, sweet and sour fish, dongpo meat, hot and sour powder, hot and spicy fried dumplings. These can be one or two. Qin Chen stretched out his long tail, rolled the mobile phone into the bedroom, and dialed the assistant's phone. Lion head roast duck, smoked chicken elbow, sweet and sour fish, dongpo meat, hot and sour powder, hot and spicy fried dumplings, these one or two just fine. Huh. Good word? This guy has a good memory. No, as if a word was wrong, Yanj hurriedly corrected him, it's just one or two, not one or two each. Qin Chen had already hung up the phone. He tilted his head, pinched his fingers on Yanj's flesh, and squeezed. Yanj's cheeks are much thinner than his. Even if he is light-footed enough, he still turns the red cheeks of Yanj. Yan Ji's tooth decay, this guy's hand is so cheap, she reached out and patted him, you hurt me. Qin Chen let go of his hand and stared in doubt at Yan Ji's almost red and swollen cheek. His printed on her cheek very clearly. Yan Ji saw that his hands seemed to have a tendency to pinch her cheeks, and quickly covered her face. It hurts me, what do you pinch me for? Qin Chen didn't say a word, and frowned slightly as if thinking. The beast's skin cannot be so fragile. Unless, she is still a beast with no fur. Is it too long to reach estrus? It was so easy to lie to a female, it was still a. It can only be seen and not eaten, and real Nima is in pain. Yanj lifted his foot and said, can you get dressed?